Hi, Rachel. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday. Welcome to fall.
Thursday.
Oh,
Fall. So close. You were so close.
oh, okay.
I loved your,
I
you know,
know.
you were so strong. You were convicted by it. Wednesday.
I think it was the alliteration that I was going after. Welcome Wednesday. I don't know.
It sounded, if only it was Wednesday.
No, it's Thursday. It's Thursday. Here we are on Thursday, and it's a gorgeous Thursday. Wednesday was great too. We needed a little rain. It perked up the grass. So
Yes.
it's just, yeah, but it was like, okay, we're in fall now.
Yes. I'm in long sleeves. You're in sweatshirt.
Yeah.
The air has shifted.
It really has. It really has. Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful day today. Looks great out there. I will get outside. I have been outside.
Yes.
So,
I got my
yeah.
run in. See, it's still rainy and cold in Albany, so we don't have beautiful weather yet, but I know the sun is coming.
That's right. Yeah. So, Rachel, we've been talking about diet versus lifestyle for a few weeks now. And yeah, it has me, I think it's just such a important subject and really is worth kind of diving into for this length of time because there's so many little nuances and aspects of it that that we want to get into. We've talked about the lifestyle pillars, the pillars of a healthy lifestyle,
Right.
and which comes from new since I have graduated medical school and residency, a new subspecialty of medicine is called lifestyle medicine. And you would have think it's the old has become new, right? Yeah, right. Because I mean, this is what we were doing hundreds of years ago, and then unfortunately, medicine or Western medicine, I'm going to say, has kind of they've compartmentalized or they've siloed our different organ systems in the body. The heart is over here, and the kidneys are thought about in their own space, and the brain in its own space, and et cetera, et cetera. Well, guess what? They all kind of work together. They're connected. We can't disconnect, one from the other. And they all need to be working well together. And that's what the lifestyle medicine or lifestyle in general is really thinking or concentrating on, that holistic approach. Yeah.
Yes. Words like holistic, integrative, functional, all terms that help describe this idea. And I'm so glad you brought that up and just kind of explained it a little bit more for maybe the listeners who don't understand, these subspecialties and these board certifications and where did lifestyle medicine come from, right? Because it's definitely a buzzword. People are hearing it, and sometimes it's thrown around and people may not fully understand what it means and what values it's kind of surrounded by. But yeah, that really you can do surgery on a kidney, but unless you know what caused the problem to the kidney, right? So what other organ systems were involved, what behaviors, what environmental things were impacting that body, that system. And so it's really the whole body. Let's look at the parts.
And it can be confusing for people because they go to this doctor, let's just say they've had a heart attack or whatever, and they get a heart healthy diet to follow, or they go to their endocrinologist because they get a diabetic diet to follow, so. And then we're put on a diet, or we're trying to lose weight, and we adopt this fad diet, and that diet really is very prescriptive, usually very restrictive, and it doesn't take into consideration the holistic approach of lifestyle, and it doesn't take into consideration, because diet. When we think of diet, we think of food. This, I can eat this, I can't eat that. If it's a diet, but it doesn't take into consideration everything else that we attach to food. Right. And that's where a lifestyle approach is more holistic.
Right. Because while nutrition is part of lifestyle medicine, the pillars of lifestyle medicine, we know that it's one piece of the puzzle. So we can't even begin to approach nutrition or changing a dietary pattern. I love calling it a dietary pattern.
That's great.
Yeah, the general ways, the general patterns of eating. We can't even approach those sometimes until we back up a little bit, reverse engineer, and address other parts of us. Sometimes it's mental health issues or some depression or mindset. We got to look at that and what kind of a foundation am I building on? I change my dietary patterns when my daily schedule is all messed up, or my sleep patterns are all messed up.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes I need to deal with that first, right? Yeah, because I need to ask myself, okay, so I'm gonna, make this XYZ food, but I don't have any time to do that. And why don't I have any time to do that? And food is so, and we're as people, I mean, we have to eat food, right? We have to eat it. And it has so many other touch points in our body, in our brain, in our psyche, than just whatever calories, right? Yeah. There's memories. There's attachments. Some healthy, some not so healthy. There's coping mechanisms. So there's traditions. There's comfort. There's habits, around food that just going on a diet cannot. It just cannot address.
Right. Oh, may I share an example from last night? This is such a great, this ties in well. So we had our group coaching session last night, and we're working through the slow down diet and this concept of slowing down when we're eating, when we're, awareness, quality, eating with pleasure, eating with oxygen and time, and approaching our mindset to all of this. And so I had the participants do an exercise where they each had one morsel of food, no matter what it was, it just had to be small and bite-sized, one little bite. And we took probably a full 5 minutes, maybe longer, of slowing down and being aware of this morsel, from looking at it and taking all of our 5 senses, and then putting it in the mouth and don't eat it yet. And what does it feel like? What does it taste like? What does it smell like? What's the texture? Aware. We were trying to just really be hyper aware of this food. And one of the participants afterwards shared about her experience and said that she had had a dried apricot. And it reminded her of, she had this flashback while we were doing this of her childhood and loving to play with food and pull food apart and like break them into different pieces and explore it. And she just had this warm, nostalgic, like flashback that she was not prepared for, like didn't know it was coming. And it was a wonderful connection. And it kind of woke her up to food suddenly in a new way, that it is so connected to our childhood, to our memories. She became fully aware of this piece of food and all of its texture and nuance. And so, and then now suddenly she's kind of awakened to this concept of awareness with food. What do I know about this food? Where did it come from? What's the history of it? What do I believe about this food? What's it going to do for me or do to me? What do I want it to do for me? What am I asking it to do? All these questions. And this is so much bigger than just what the food is.
Yeah. And just so much bigger than calories or a diet So I love that, because it separates. And a lot of times, when if we have this diet mentality, we're overly restrictive, we're walking this tightrope and we're just bound to fall off.
Mhm.
We're just, it's going to happen because we can't be perfect. So we're bound to fall off. And when we fall off the tightrope, then, usually that all or none thinking sets in. We throw in the towel. We say, this isn't working, or
Yes.
I can't do this, or I'm a bad person, or we step on the scale and the weight's not down, and we're shoulding on ourselves, to just really shoulding on ourselves, versus this beautiful experience that you had where questions were, I love the word you used, you were awake, this person was awakened.
Yeah.
And then starting to ask, step back and give space for more questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great. Versus criticize, so you're curious when you come to trying to make some lifestyle changes,
Mm-hmm.
versus critical.
Yes.
When you can't measure up to the prescribed diet.
That's right. That's right. And that's really what we want to, address today and kind of press into a little bit more, is this concept within the diet mentality versus lifestyle mentality series we're doing. Mm-hmm. The concept today is criticism versus curiosity. So mm-hmm. criticism really is wrapped up in diet mentality, mm-hmm. culture, and lifestyle medicine is all about curiosity. It is mm-hmm. all about asking the questions. And I want to encourage people to really think about what it means to be curious. Mm. Some of the words that go along, with curiosity are the evoking a sense of awe and wonder. Mm-hmm. Right? When you're curious about something, you're like, oh, you're surprised, or you're looking for something, and it's a positive word. These are all positive mindsets, positive emotions, positive feelings, positive thoughts. Criticism, negative feelings, negative thoughts, sort of depressing, like pushing down, mm-hmm. right? Blaming and shaming and fear, mm-hmm. anger, right? All of this is so negative. Well, of mm-hmm. course, the body gets bound up in the stress of that and the cortisol and inflammation. Whereas when we come with a brighter curiosity, it's kind of freeing, mm-hmm. because when you're curious, you're telling yourself, I don't know all the answers. Mm-hmm. And I don't have to be perfect. And what could be going on here, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you think about somebody who asks a question in a curious way, there's a lift in their spirit, like, hey, mm-hmm. tell me more, right? Yeah. Lift in their body, their metabolism, their body posture, their eyebrows, their face, mm-hmm. right? They're mm-hmm. curious.
Yeah.
The body posture of criticism is down and furrowed brows and anger, and you should, pointing fingers, things like that. Yeah. Even just separating those two out, you can see a very big energy difference between the two.
So true. So true. And I was just thinking that even if you're asking questions mm-hmm. in over here, well, it's over here for you. Over here in the diet, even if you're asking your questions, you're asking questions like you already know the answer, because I didn't do this or I didn't do that, versus just giving space to mm-hmm. I genuinely don't know, and I'm trying to figure it out.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so glad you spread that apart, because we can be asking questions mm-hmm. in a critical way. Why'd you do that? Well, I know why you did that, and we're just answering. That's not what we're talking about. It's the sitting with it, creating the space, like you said, the mindful pause to go, that's mm-hmm. interesting.
Yeah.
And to think of something as interesting
mm-hmm.
rather than like, oh, I behaved a certain way, or I did a certain thing.
Yeah.
And finding it interesting rather than bad or shameful or and just sit back and go, and it takes a moment, because you really do have to take on the entire body posture of I'm truly curious. This is interesting. Mm-hmm. And one of the ways that I have trained myself to do this, and I still work on it, I'm not perfect at it, but I use a playful mindset. So whenever I ask myself to be curious, I also ask myself to use playful.
Yeah.
Because
I'm writing this down. So good, playful.
Okay. Yeah, because playful, it immediately puts me in a kind
Uh-huh.
body posture towards myself. Oh my gosh, Rachel, why did she do that? Right? Like, oh,
Right.
weird. That's so weird. Crazy. Right? Like it's kind of, but it's nice. It's funny. It's
Yeah.
playful. I almost like step out of myself and observe it from
Yeah.
like a third person. Like, oh,
Right.
why that? That was weird, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it gets me thinking, oh, well, there must be something here. Okay. This is going to be okay. I'm
Yeah.
okay. This is okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. I'm going
Right.
to probably figure this out in some way. I'm going to
Right.
think more about this,
Right.
moving on,
Yeah.
and it gives me freedom to kind of go, huh, okay.
Yeah.
And I can move forward.
Right. That's so good because even if you bump up against something that's uncomfortable, right? You're not as quick to be with that playful, curious kindness that you're giving yourself.
Yeah.
You're not as quick to label it as a bad thing. Run away, run away. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Even when I hear myself starting to label something like, well, that I shouldn't have done that. I can get curious about that and go, well, should I? Maybe I should have. I don't know. Should I or shouldn't I? That's an interesting question, right? So even getting curious about the questions that you're getting curious about, and just keep pulling it out. If I I should have done something. I would have liked to have done something, right? Maybe I'm getting curious. I'm like, well, okay, I would have liked to have done this. And then I can say, well, maybe it wasn't the right thing at the moment. Maybe it wasn't the right choice. Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't.
Yeah.
Bottom line, I made a choice. Huh. Okay. How will I move forward? And then I can come into some wisdom and say, well, how would I like to move forward?
Yeah.
If I were to do it again, what would I like to have done differently, if anything? And you have to give yourself that permission to answer nothing. I wouldn't have done anything different. Okay, great. Right?
Yeah. So I'm seeing that you're using the questions to gain information. I love your wisdom versus because sometimes we can use information as ammunition.
Ooh, I love that too. Yes.
Yeah, but you're using your information for wisdom.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Where is the critical criticism side, or that's a saboteur. That's a sabotaging mindset.
Right.
The curiosity is a sage. They call it the sage, where the wisdom lies. And when we can get curious, compassionate, kind, comforting, silly, zestful, that's when sage, the wisdom, comes in and says and gives us an ability to think bigger picture. And well, then what would I like to do next?
Right.
And it becomes growth. It becomes a growth mindset.
Yeah. And we come up, I think we come to, well, first of all, we're humans, so we have automatic negative thoughts, right? Yes. I mean, we just do.
Right? We call them ants, the NTS, automatic negative thoughts.
That's right. And the other thing is that we've all had, and I'm not trying to blame or shame, but somewhere in our lives, we've learned how to be super critical of ourselves. And, and I'm just going to stand up. Maybe we've gone back to our doctor who's said, I want you to do A, B, C, or X, Y, Z, or 1, 2, 3. And then, we're doing those things and it's not making the changes that the doctor is expecting to see. And so the doctor maybe make the assumption that, oh, you must be doing something wrong, or you're not telling me the truth. And that kind of feeds into, this diet kind of failure, tightrope, restriction, shame, blame, and I'm not trying to throw all doctors under the bus, being one of those doctors. But it kind of shuts down exploration. right?
Yes.
Yeah, those kinds of experiences. And we kind of learn from those and maybe start doing some of that ourselves. So, you know, and I'm not saying that's the only source of that, but it just kind of, it's something that I recognize in the field, you know, and I'm not saying, you know, and so, and I'm not saying doctors are bad or they're bad for making, you know, whatever, but, you know, they're trying to help, they're trying to figure things out too. And if, you know, usually if 2 + 2 is 4, it usually pans, you know, usually pans out. If it's not panning out, then something's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's just that, we're not asking the right questions.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The intention and the purpose is there. It's the way that the questions are being asked. And, you know, bringing up doctors, like they frequently have very little time.
Yeah.
Love your model of medicine, that your patients have so much more time with you. Even though most of your work is done in person, you do some virtual, and it's, you're more like a concierge. You know, they have access to you via text or email. They, you respond, they're interacting with you. You're able to give them live feedback, not just once every 3 months when they see you for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And so there's so much more connection and an ability to ask those questions, an ability to sit with the hard questions. But for the, you know, for the typical doctor or provider model, they don't have the time to get curious. They got to get some answers, right? You got 2 minutes.
That's right.
Get to it. Yeah.
That's right. And so Rachel, I appreciate that. And I'm going to just right back at you. I mean, and it's the coaching and the way that you coach that helps teach people how to do this for themselves. So they build skills, they build tools that once they have graduated from coaching, then they've got this whole toolbox that, you know, that allows them, you know, to first, you know, stop, you know, and ask the questions, you know, what am I thinking? What am I feeling emotionally? What am I feeling physically? What was the behavior? And I love your words, reverse engineer it. And then, you know, and if they need to bring calm into the space, they look in their toolbox and say, okay, I'm going to use this skill that I built. Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly right. Yes. Yes. And as a coach, I want to help people build a foundation because they've been doing all these things, exercise, nutrition, whatever. They've been spinning their wheels on a sandy, unstable foundation. And we want to build the foundational skills. I love what you said, like, because we want them to do it for themselves.
Right. Yeah.
If I have this foundation of lifestyle tools now, I can ask the question, whip out whatever tool I need, and my stability then is solid. And from on that, then I can build a foundation. Then I can build a structure of healthy eating, healthy sleep, healthy stress.
Right. Yes. Great.
But
so good. So good. Yeah, this is great. This is great. I appreciate this conversation. And well, we're coming to the end of our time here, Rachel, and I don't have a super great wrap up. Maybe you can think of something. But we usually share what's for dinner. That's, you know, hence the name.
Yeah. What's for dinner? Exactly. Yeah. So what's for dinner for you tonight?
Yeah. Well, my husband made this. We have, you know, we buy this grass-fed finished cow, and, you know, and so he made this delicious slow roasted on the bone, which gets a lot of the more nutrient density. And then we're putting that over the vegetables that we have in our garden still coming. So yeah, so I think there's zucchini, tomato, onion, and kale. So
yeah, kale's doing good right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
Yes. Well, for us, we're getting ready to travel tonight. I'm going to Colorado for a coaching conference symposium. I'm so excited. So I'll come back with some new stuff. So we'll be traveling. I'm not sure what we'll eat. So it'll be one of those like on the road, you know, maybe in a restaurant or I'm not quite sure how we're going to do it, but it's, I'm using, you know, it's the number one conversation people talk to me about is how do I eat on the road? How do I travel and eat well? How do I go on vacation and eat well? So I'm going to be thinking about those conversations that I have with clients and patients and be putting that into practice of you can eat well anywhere you go. You just have to look well at the menu and decide, ahead of time that you're going to eat that way. So
Yeah, that's right.
That's my plan.
That's good. Well, I hope you have a great time, and we'll really look forward to hearing everything that you learned next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll be great. All right, friends.
All right.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.